name is Kaze and welcome to another Right Brain tutorial. Well, this tutorial is not quite like any of the other tutorials that I've done in the past. As a matter of fact, it's a bit of an experiment, but I thought it might be interesting if I showed you guys my entire creative process from the very beginning, initial concept of an idea, all the way to the very end when I call, the render finished, done, complete. Because of that, this is going to be a very long video. So if you are the type of person who watches 5 to 10 minute tutorial videos and you think that they're a little too long for your taste, this is probably not going to be for you. This is going to be a pretty long video that I'm going to edit very lightly here and there, but for the most part you're going to see kind of sort of like my entire thought process. Nonetheless, I wanted to try it and see if you guys would like it, and throughout this process I'm going to go through the initial concept. As I said, I'm going to build my basic scene. I'm going to utilize geometry from different collections that I have. I will utilize different tools that I have at my disposal. I will go not just within Houdini, but I will use tools like Quixel Megascans, for instance, and After Effects to do all my post-production, and even a little bit of Resolve at the very end to add our final tweaks. So if you're interested in taking this journey with me, come on board and follow through, and hopefully you get something out of it. So on that note, let's dive into it. I'm going to be using 3D Light as the rendering engine of choice. I'm going to post a link in the description below so that you can download it. It's free if you use up to 12 threads. That is like six cores. If you have like a 6-core Intel and basically it's using multi-threading, then it's completely 100% free. Imagine that. And it's fast. I mean, it's honestly, for a CPU renderer, it's in some cases it's actually faster than a GPU render. Imagine that. So I was on Facebook and I saw this image right here. I think it was like an advertisement for a book or something like that. I mean, I don't know, it was on my feed. I think it was I think it was probably for some book. I don't know who made this. If you guys know, I mean, I would love to give them credit. But I thought it was really cool. It's very low res, but you can basically get a rough idea of what the scene is. It's it looks like some kind of vast desert, just very flat plain, maybe like a salt lake of some sort, and then in the far distance there's this futuristic buildings over here, these kind of spires, and then some additional little construction stuff. There's some clouds, this kind of very distinctive poofy on top but very flat on the bottom clouds that to me kind of give it a bit of a deserty sort of vibe. Well, on top of the fact that it's orange, right? So it's kind of got that sunset, or I think it's a sunset type of vibe. There's a large planet in the background in space, I guess. I don't know what this stuff is right here. There's some additional clouds in the far distance, and it looks like there's maybe some additional even bigger construction in the far distance. I actually don't know if I really care about this stuff right here, honestly. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if I'm gonna necessarily care about the planets, but what I'm mostly interested is this kind of flat plain and then these buildings in the distance, and to try to kind of capture a little bit of this kind of cool vibe that this thing has. There's a dude standing here that's looking with some sort of cape. I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but I'll figure it out when we get there. Let's worry about everything else. We might or might not have the dude in there, and of course I'm not trying to replicate it. What I really want is to capture the vibe, okay? This kind of futuristic, very far future, very kind of distant future. Obviously not on Earth, on some other planet with different sort of moons orbiting around there. And I mean, that's kind of what I'm going for. So the first thing I'm going to do is just kind of worry about the flat land, and then I'm going to get a very rough idea of what my camera is going to be and what kind of distances we're dealing with. All right, let's go into Houdini, and let's start by the first thing that we're gonna do is just throw a grid. Just gonna throw a grid in Houdini, and this is gonna be our flat plane. It is. I'm not gonna worry about like making this all, like giving it any sort of displacement in Houdini. I'm probably gonna let the texture do that for me. But so to me, like, I don't even really care about like how many polygons are on it. I just, I mean, right now it's like the default 10 by 10. So I think that's good enough. What I do care, however, about is the size. So let's see here. What are we looking at? I don't know how tall these buildings are. So I think I'm gonna make this ground at least, I don't know, like 4 or 5 kilometers, maybe. Let's give it a shot. Let's make it huge. Let's go for 5 kilometers. 5,000 by 5,000. Ooh. Kind of space G will kind of zoom out and get you like an overview of what the hell you just created. Okay, cool. So this kind of works for me for now. And as I said, I'm not going to worry too much about how many polygons I have in here, mostly because 3D Light automatically computes whatever polygons it needs for displacement, so I don't have to worry about that. But that's something very specific to 3D Light. Well, actually, that's not true, because Redshift, you can enable tessellation on render time. I don't know if Mantra requires more polygons, but as I said, I think for my specific purposes, I think this is fine. So this is pretty huge. It looks small, but it's actually rather large. So what I want to do is I want to create, oh, how about I save sci-fi landscape version 1. Let's create a camera. New camera, but I want to zero it out first. 0, 0, 0, and 0, 0, 0. Okay. So now my camera is smack in the middle of my scene. So the first thing I want to do is refer to this photo just to get a rough idea of like how high is the camera off the ground. 3 meters off the ground, something like that. Once again, it's a little bit difficult to get a good sense of distance just by looking at this, but let's go with 3 meters in the Y, and then we can kind of adjust as needed. I get a lay of the land here, because also I can't see, because the scene is so freaking big that I can't even see the camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my view thing here. I'm just going to make the icon scale a lot bigger, like 50, 500. Yeah, see, now I can see the camera a little bit better. So it's pointing that way, and what I want to do is actually want to move it to one end of the thing. So I'm just gonna, I'm always confused as to, I think this is it. Alright, let's make it 2600. It's a height. Oh, I see, it's changing the height because it's looking at the focus. I want the focus to be a lot closer though. Alright. I'm going to display my wire shaded, so at least I have like a bit of a perspective sense, so I kind of know a little bit. I'm going to change my camera resolution. I'm going to make it 1080. This is like a 16 by 9. Yeah, let's keep it at 16 by 9 for now. I'm probably gonna crop it. I'm a big fan of the more kind of CinemaScope type of thing, and looking at this thing, I don't know if I really need to see the very top and the very bottom anyway. I might just want to kind of, here, let me make it a little bit smaller so we, I think it's 16 by 9. Anyway, we'll worry about it later. Okay, so I could probably push back even more. I want to get as much of this ground as possible in my camera. let's go 2800, almost there, 2900, it's too far, 2850, how's that? Let's just make it 2800. I think that's fine. The other thing that I want to do is I want to make I want to make my camera definitely wider than it is right now. So first thing I want to do is this aperture. This is my sensor size, and I have no idea, like, if any of you guys know why Houdini defaults to this specific number, 41.4214 millimeter. I don't know. It kind of baffles me where they got this number, but obviously it must come from somewhere. But I like to change this to 36 millimeter. That's the sensor size of a typical full frame camera. So that's usually like a 36 millimeter wide frame. And the focal length, it's 50 millimeter, which is, that's not what this is for sure. This is not 50 millimeter. As I said, I think it's going to be at least 24 millimeters, maybe even, let's leave it at 24 for now, and we'll adjust it later. But if you can see, like, now that I made my lens wider, now we can kind of see the beginning of our ground. So I'm going to have to move my camera a little bit closer. Let's go 2700, 2600, 2500, no, 2200. What the hell am I doing here? Oh shit, this is what's going on. If I go under view in my camera, the near clipping is too big. So I'm just going to set that to 1, even less, 0.1. In the far clipping, I want it to be really far, so I'm just going to set this to 10,000. 10,000 should be kind of cool. Okay, you know, if I really wanted to, I could actually kind of bring, I don't know if I want to do this, but I could actually bring this image, and let's try it. Let's see what happens, because maybe it's a good reference, maybe it isn't. So I'm just going to click open. Look at that. You can actually see it. And if I set this to wireframe, then I'll actually be able, if I really want to, I can actually kind of match exactly the angle of this shot. Pretty closely, at least. So, yeah, let's do that. Why not? So let's, first of all, it's angled, the camera's angled up a lot. I can go 12.5, no, 13.5. There you go, that's perfect. Now my horizon line is perfectly. However, we can see my bottom and top of my, okay, that, there you go, 2550, let's make it 2500, nah, 2550. I told you this video is going to be rambly and long. It's going to be long and rambly, because that's what I do. Okay. So, just to get a rough reference, I think we're good. I think we're good with this. So, there you go. We have our horizon line. And actually, now that I have my horizon line, I can actually kind of see that this is not 16 by 9 at all. It's a little bit more squished. I think it's like 185. Let's go with, I'm going to change my view resolution to, I think 1920 by 800 is probably going to be a little too much. This is how you calculate aspect ratio. So I think this is a 185 to 1. Because there's a little gap here and a little gap there. So I'm going to take my handy dandy calculator, and I'm going to say 1920 divided by 1.85. It's 1037. Let's make it 1040. Yeah, it's even smaller than that. 1020. I mean, it's a drawing, so they probably weren't really using like exact, you know, film dimensions. 1010, about 1000. See, now it's, well, 1010, I think it's pretty close. Okay, cool. It's an unusual sort of aspect ratio. I'm probably going to change it, but for right now, I'm just trying to get like as close as possible to having this, you know, this fill my field of view in the camera so that it's matched. So, where am I going to get these buildings? Where are you going to get these buildings? That's the biggest question. The answer is getpast3d.com. These guys are really, really cool. Because they have all these cool buildings and, you know, anything from Middle Ages until, I don't know, like super futuristic kind of stuff. But check this out, and I don't know if how long this is gonna go on, so by the time you watch this video, maybe this promotion is gonna be over. But they have this kit called Utopia right here, okay? It's normally $200, but you can get it for free. Use this free Utopia kit to create bright art, dark times. So basically you add it to the cart and then you type bright art, dark times as your coupon code, and it brings the price to 0. Imagine that. This is really, really cool. Really generous. But I think this is perfect actually for what we want to do, because this is kind of like what this stuff looks like. It's this kind of like spiry, tall, uber futuristic buildings, and I think it's kind of cool. I mean, I think it's exactly what we're looking for. Like this kind of stuff. I mean, if I go back and forth with our reference, yeah, it's close. It's definitely close, you know, we're definitely in the ballpark. So yeah, go grab this stuff. It's free. What more do you want? I mean, it's pretty awesome that, and also, after you buy this, I mean, after you get this for free, maybe consider like sending those guys some business, you know, buy one of their other stuff, kits, because they have a lot of stuff, and it's kind of cool if you can, you know, reward them for being so generous in the first place. Cool. So the thing is that I already bought this, or I already downloaded it. And okay, so let's go back to Houdini. I'm just gonna close the browser, and I'm gonna bring this stuff in. Before I do that, I'm just gonna uncheck this guy. Here's a bug. I think this is like a Houdini bug, because basically whenever I click on this guy, it doesn't remove this thing. And right now I don't really, well, actually, you know what? Let's leave it. As a matter of fact, let's do something else. While we're working, and because I'm gonna want to see render, but I don't necessarily want to see this particular angle, I'm gonna call this camera, I'm gonna call this render cam. That's what I'm calling this. But I'm gonna make myself a new camera. And my new camera is gonna be work cam. Okay, so render cam and work cam. And the other cool thing about doing it this way is that I can keep this guy at a fairly small resolution. This is just something that I'm just going to be navigating my scene, and I'm just going to do like some test renders and stuff like that. Let's bring the focal line to, let's bring it back to like 50 millimeter, so my whole field of view is not crazy distorted. Okay, so now I can go back to my plane, and that's going to be cool. I'm gonna pick up a Steven Nipping little thing where he gives the color green to anything that gets rendered. So I'm just going to hit C, highlight my render cam, and just going to give it a green color so that I know that this guy is getting rendered. Okie doke. So far so good. So let's bring in some buildings. Now this is going to be messy because there is one criticism of the Kitbash 3D guys, if you guys are listening. I wish that they broke things up in their own individual FBX files, and they don't. Everything comes in as a single file, and that always ends up being a bit of a pain in the butt to deal with, especially in Houdini. Like if you use Blender or Cinema 4D, you kind of see all the layers right there. It's a lot easier to sort through this stuff. I'm going to do it with a file node. I know that I could go in here and just do the import FBX, but that's going to create a lot of other networks, and I'm lazy. I just don't feel like dealing with it. Okay. Okay. We're live. Cool. So yeah, I mean, it basically kind of brings everything in all at once. And if I middle click on this guy, it's got a bunch of stuff, including material paths, and I think it's got groups. So this is how I like to deal with these types of kitbashy things where everything is in the same file. I like to use the blast node to try to isolate what is what. Blast node, and I'm just going to say delete non-selected and see what it gives me. Ah, crap. It does it that way. Let me look at the top-down view. I'm just going to select it this way. So I definitely want this guy. Let's call this building building 1. And I want to do something else with it. I want to, because right now if I want to move it, like if I put like a transform node to it, then this craziness happens. I don't really like that at all. I want to be able to rotate it on its axis and stuff like that, so I'm going to use the SideFX Labs axis thing, which they recently changed. It used to be called the Labs Axis Align, and you can still kind of like type axis to find it, but what it really is, it creates this match size node instead, which basically does that and more. It will also resize it if you want it, because you can kind of say that you want to scale to fit. But this does exactly what I wanted it. It's just basically just kind of centering this particular building right here. And okay, so this is fine the way it is, and I said that the Y is minimum, so like the building is sitting on my ground. And I'm just gonna put a null in here. I'm gonna create out building 1. Okay, that's my first one. So let's grab a couple more. So basically what I did is I used the blast node to get rid of everything except the selection that I was using, and then I just kind of copied the match size and a null to all of them. So now, if we look at it, I have building 1, building 2, building 3, building 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. I don't know if I'm going to need all of them, but I have them. So if you haven't, hit save, because that helps. So I'm going to call this Utopia import. However, I'm going to uncheck this. Why, you say? Because I'm actually going to use a different geometry node to bring each one of those guys in. Building 1. So, and I'm going to make this green, because this is going to be my render. Actually, I'm just going to put render building 1. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an object merge. Object merge. Hit P to see the parameters. And I'm just going to grab in the Utopia import out building 1. Poof. Look at that. Into specified object. Alright, cool. And it should have come with a bunch of attributes too, so it's kind of nice. It's always nice when it does that. Okay, so let's go to my work cam. Lock this guy in. And see a little bit where we are with it. Oh, my distance is out of whack. Actually, it's in my work cam. 15,000. Okay, so I want these guys to be at the very, very far end of my scene, so I'm just gonna bring them out here, at the very, very end. I'm not even seeing, like, the ground at this point, so. Okay, except, I mean, it's nice, but it's a little minus 2,500. Kind of want to change it a little bit because it's not like I want it to be like a lot taller. So if I go in here and add a transform node, can I do that? And scale it by 10. Yeah, that's too much. 5 is kind of like in the same general range, height wise, maybe even 4. But I want it to be skinnier. I want it to be skinnier, so maybe I want to scale the Y by 5. Oh, but we rotated it. Damn it. You know what? I'm not going to rotate it here. Just so I can kind of see the whole thing. Ah, you know what? Like, now that I'm looking at the thing, the side view, it's kind of more interesting. It's got a more interesting silhouette, but let's see what happens when I distort it a little bit and see if it gets kind of weird and crazy. So if I go 0.5, it doesn't get that weird and crazy. 0.25, it might get weird and crazy when it comes to the textures, but I don't know. I kind of like the fact that it's tall and skinny. 1.1. Yeah, see, this is kind of cool. I like the silhouette, you know, and we're not going to see a whole lot of detail in the distance anyway, because it's going to be so far off, and it's going to be cloud in between, and there's probably going to be haze of some sort. So I'm probably not going to worry too much about if our geometry is getting kind of distorted, and because of that, like the UV maps are probably going to get distorted, but I'm just not going to worry about it too much. So what I do want to do is I want to move it that way, right? For you guys is this way. 50, 100. Let's do it the proper way. Like so. Okay, that's our kind of middle tall spire. It's kind of cool. All right, let's bring in another. I'm just gonna Alt click or Option click. That's gonna give me render building number 2, and I'm just gonna dive right in, and I'm just gonna say I'm gonna bypass this transform because I don't even know if I want it for this one, but let's try building 2, see what that looks like. And it's really small, obviously, but actually let me uncheck the view. So I will need the transform. Let's bring this back to 1 and 1 and scale it and rotate it by 90 degrees. Maybe let's rotate it by 45 degrees just to kind of do something a little different. Nah, let's keep it. And what I want to do is I also want to skinify it. So it doesn't have to be quite as tall, but let's say that I want to use it for this guy. What if we skinify it? Okay. Skinify it even more. Let's make it. I think it's perfectly okay if it's not quite as skinny as the one in the reference photo. As a matter of fact, it can be even a little smaller. Okay. And I'm gonna move this on the x-axis, but this time I want to go that way. Somewhere around here. Why not? Let's skinify it some more. Because that's the kind of vibe of the image that I'm trying to go for, so that's why I want to do it that way. So, okay. What else are we gonna do? Let's bring another one. Actually, I'm gonna jump into my import just to kind of get an idea of what it is that I have. So that's building 2, building 3, building 4. I like this one, but I think I want like 3 also. I like the fact it's got these tall antennas here, so that's kind of neat. So object merge, building 2, 3. Let's keep this normal for right now, and let's go to my render cam, and where's building 3? Right here. So what do I want to do? What if we use building 3? The second one? I don't know. Maybe this one. I don't know. Let's bring it up to 0 and bring it over here. Okay. Let's skinify it. So let's skinify it in the X and Z, but the Y I want to be nice and tall. So this is cool. That works. Right. moving right along. What else do we need? So we got this guy, we got this guy, we got this guy. So let's bring in this guy and bring building 4 and transform. This also works like this. Let's make it, well, let's use it for this guy right here. So, but you know what? Let's do something else. Instead of resizing it so that it's smaller, like some of these are going to be further back and some of these are going to be a little bit forward. So that's going to come in handy whenever we're using the like the fog or the mist haze in the distance. So first of all, let me bring it into position like this. See, that's my wide angle that's kind of distorting all this stuff. Where are we? This is interesting. Sorry, I'm like a little bit lost in thought. But if I enable all these buildings like so, you'll see that as we get more to the side, they start kind of angling inward, and that's because wide angle lenses typically have distortion on the side. And this is something that, like, the original artist, he didn't do that. He just kind of drew them straight. I mean, technically this shot is, you kind of need like a specialized lens to get everything to be like straight up like so. We'll worry about it later. We will worry about it later. So let's keep working. Actually, what have we got so far? We need this guy, we need this guy, this guy, this guy, and then some stuff on the bottom. Okay. Actually, this guy I'm gonna send a little further back. 4,000. And now I need to change that. This guy I'm gonna send a little further back. Minus 3,000. Let's make it minus 5,000 also. I just want to get like a lot of sense of scale, of distance. So let's bring it, yeah, maybe it'll be this guy. And then I'll find something else for this guy. Let's go back to our Utopia buildings and let's see what else we got. We got this guy, we got, that's kind of cool. Oh, let's use this guy. So this is 8. These numbers are not gonna, well, I'm just gonna call it 8. Why not? And go here, building 8. Let's go back to our render cam, and the render cam, okay, so I want to rotate it for sure, 90 degrees, like so. Let's use it for this guy, I guess. So I do want to skinify it, so 0.5 in X and Z. Maybe make it even a little taller here. 1.4. Okay. And now let's bring it, let's move the position here. And let's maybe send it, oh, it doesn't have to be minus 3,000. So in that case, it can actually be smaller. Make it 3. Okay, that's fine. case you're wondering, I'm just trying to like kind of stagger them a little bit so that they're not like on the same plane, like as if they were like flat buildings. I might even do other stuff if when we get to like the fine-tuning kind of stage of this project, where I might kind of maybe angle them slightly or do some other stuff. But for right now, I just don't want them to be like all in the same line, because that's cities are not like that, you know. The buildings are kind of staggered all over the place depending on like the grid of the city. But when you're looking at it from this angle, then they all kind of look very flat, because like the more you see stuff in the far distance, the more it kind of tends to flatten it. That's just kind of the way our eyesight works. So we're using that guy. What does this guy look like? This is cool too. Yeah, let's use that. Building 9. Building 8, building 9. Go in here and point it to 9. So we're bringing, let's make this 1, 1, 1. We'll probably skinify it, but let's worry about that. Let's look at the render cam. Let's bring this, maybe we'll bring this a little bit forward. Or actually, like, let's see. If we're gonna use it for this guy, this looks way, way, way far in the distance. So maybe let's give it minus 8,000. And let's, hold on, I can't see what the hell I'm doing. Let's move it over here, but that's too far. Minus 6,000. Minus 6,000. Can be minus 7,000. Minus 8,000. Oh, it's disappearing because my camera is not going that far. So you go to the render cam and change that. Let's make it 20,000. There you go. That's why it was disappearing. I was like confused. Hell, let's make it 50,000. I just wanted to just see forever. Okay, so now that we have that, minus 10,000. Let's try that. So this guy is way off. If our middle building is kind of like towards the closer to the camera, this guy is like really, really far away. So let's just kind of put it. Where's the resetting? I don't have enough screen space. Make it 5,000. Let's make it 6,000. All right. And it doesn't have to be this big, so we can kind of make this 2. All right. Why not? So let's grab another guy, and let's go in here. And what else have we got? Building 10. Yeah, square. It's kind of interesting. And then we get into the flat stuff. So, well, let's use 10. Building 10. Let's not make it quite that crazy distant. So let's make it minus 3,000. Let's put it in the middle. Let's get rid of these guys. And building 10. Okay. Transform. Let's not rotate it. Let's keep it with that silhouette because it's kind of interesting. Let's go back to my render cam. And let's move it over here. And this can actually be even smaller. Let's see. Maybe instead of skinifying it, it can be more like not quite as tall. So we want to put it here. So let's translate it. 3,500. 3,800. Okay. Okay, so building 5. Building 5, what does that look like? And let's, for the time being, let's not skinify it, just to get a sense. But let's turn it 90 degrees, and yeah, let's use that for that. So that also looks like it's further out in the distance. So building 5, let's, minus 6,000. And let's bring it closer to the middle, and then let's adjust it like that. Why is it like kind of sticking? It's sticking above ground. I don't like that. So let's maybe drop it. Minus 200. Yeah, I just don't want to see this thing floating up in the air. And the other thing is it's a little too big, so once again, instead of skinifying it, I'm gonna just make it more like that. Let's see, minus 100, that works. Okay, so we're kind of almost getting there in our very simplistic kind of recreation of this scene. I just need like some more kind of greebly looking stuff here, and because of that I imported some of these guys. I think the last 3 is exactly for that purpose. 1, 2, and 3. I think that's gonna give me some kind of low rise buildings that I can kind of position. So that's 11, 12, and 13 we have so far, and just deal with that. So minus 2,500. Okay, so this is 11. Okay, and let's position it. Let's see. Render cam. I mean, I could even just leave it like that, but here, let's put it up to the side. Am I transforming it? No, I want that. Where are we gonna put it? Like maybe around here. We want to just kind of create some interest on the ground, you know. This is 12. Let's do 12. 12 is cool, so let's position it. I might kind of copy and paste 12. I think it's going to come in handy. Let's maybe send it a little bit further back, maybe like minus 3,000. Let's bring in 13. Building 13. Okay, let's put that guy there. Let's maybe push it a lot further back and move it over somewhere around here. I don't know, let's take a look at what we got so far. Okay. Maybe I need some stuff here, and maybe like a couple little things over there too. I think 12, which has got like the most interesting kind of silhouette. Let's copy that. Instead, I'm just going to call it 12-2. Maybe this is 12-1. Just going to make a few copies of 12. Okay, so let's push it over here, but let's make it like really far off in the distance, like so. And it's 12.3, and this guy maybe put it over here. Come on. $4,000. I just did a little bit of cleanup here because it was just getting messy. So I just kind of created this this little container for all my render geometry. So it's got all my buildings and my ground. My render cam I'm just keeping separate here. And then I added an environment light because I need to light the scene somehow if I want to be able to see what the hell I'm doing in the render view. What I would like is, even though I'm probably not going to use an HDRI for, you know, to light the scene properly, because I don't think I can find an HDRI that will look kind of okay with this. But what I was thinking is maybe what I can do is see if I can find an HDRI that's at least gets me in the ballpark with this kind of warm glow. There's another cool place. Free HDRIs. You know, maybe throw the guy some bucks. You know, because he's doing all this for nothing. Okay, HDRI. Let's see if what happens if I type sunset. What do I get? I'm looking for something that's got this kind of nice orangey sort of vibe. Kiara 8 Sunset might do it. I think I already have this one. What if I do desert? Like, I don't know, can I do like orange? Does it come up with something? No. How about desert? I'm just looking for something that's got like some nice warmth to it. Is this the only desert? No. Warm. No. It's indoors. Don't want that. Alright, let's try desert. I guess there's only one desert HDRI. That's crazy. And I have that too. I do. I'm looking at this white sphere here. That's how I kind of make a determination of like how warm it feels. I mean, this is not bad. This is not bad. Is there something that's even warmer? This is kind of cool. It's kind of like a reddish. It's more red than like, I mean, it's more purpley than orangey. But this definitely kind of has potential. This might be a little too purple. Too much. There's such a thing as too much of a good thing. So, oh, this is cool too. Let's grab this guy, Signal Hill. I usually just go with the 4K. I really don't need to be. I don't need to be going crazy with the resolution. Not for HDRIs. And as I said, we might not even use it. Let's grab. What else did I want to grab? Let's try this guy. Kiara 8 Sunset. Hello. 4K. And let's grab the other one that I saw that I said it was a little purpley. This guy I like. Why not? They're free. Oh, this is the guy that I wanted. That was purpley. This is the purpley one. Okay, cool. Kiara Dawn or Kiara Sunset. And then I got Signal Hill and Spruit, right? And there's this guy too. Let's try Kiara Dawn and see. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what it feels like. So, I don't need to see it in the viewport, but I do want to see it in my render. Okay, so what we need to do is I want to launch my IPR. So I'm gonna create a ROP for 3D lights, but in the scene elements, yeah, I want to see render cam. There you go. That's cool. I'm glad it automatically knows what I want to see. Let's change this to IPR and let's launch it. What I want is to make this guy in OBS small, like so. Alright, well, it's not ideal, but I only have one screen, so. And you're watching this on YouTube, if you even watch this on YouTube, so. Okay, cool. Alright, well, I mean, aside from the fact that the sun is kind of technically coming from the wrong side, at least we have a rough idea of what it is that we're working with. And I know that I want to change some stuff because some stuff is looking like it's floating above the ground, so I don't like that. Yeah, you know, just kind of slowly getting there. And right now there's no textures, obviously. So let's work on, well, first of all, let me just get this light to shine from the other side. So if I go 120, okay, it's gonna come in from, it's roughly the same size as this, right? But as I said, we're probably not gonna use the HDRI anyway, or maybe we might use it for some stuff, but not other. But it's just a starting point right now. That's all it is. Okay, so what do we got here? What guy's this guy? This guy's render building 4. It's floating up in the air. Let's bring it down. -50. Let's just go on the safe side and -100 them all. This guy, I wanted to lower it. -100 and -50. What else? You know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna grab all of them and just make them -100. There you go. Like, I don't even know if you guys could see it on your end, but I had like a little bit of a weird line. Like, some of these buildings look like they were floating, and that's a mistake, so I don't want that. I do want to change the angle a little bit more. Let's go like 200. Just want to get it a little bit like behind these things. Let's see here. Let's do this. Check this out. I can load a background plate, and I'm just gonna tell it to use this guy. Is that gonna look crazy? A little bit, but it works. Can you guys see this? Yeah. Other than that, like, I just feel like the light is a little too bright, so I'm just gonna maybe drop it. It is a sunset-y sort of kind of vibe. Okay. I knew it was gonna be way too optimistic for me to try to fit this all into a single video, so I'm gonna have to split it up into different parts. I'm gonna try to keep each part around an hour-ish or so, but I think it's gonna be better. It's gonna keep things a little bit more organized. So thank you for watching the first part, where we covered like our basic scene layout, importing the geometry and kind of arranging things into our scene. In the next lesson, we're gonna cover texturing. See you soon.